right, so today is November 9th, and this is our group call for the Soul Profit Circle. I know at least one more person will be joining us. Others had conflicts. It's always hard to find a time where more people can come. As you know, Kaya, Rama knows this well, this is our time to go wherever the spirit leads us, right, with whatever's going on. We had a fascinating conversation, right, Rama, in when was it? It was in September, right? It was just after around the Kavanaugh nomination, and there were a lot of raw feelings at that time. So we spent the time talking about what was up with that, and you know, rather than necessarily the agenda of money or profitability or whatever. And so I'd love to hear how you guys are doing and what's on your minds and on your hearts today, and how can we help? You know, who wants to go first?
I was just going to say, do you have something you want to start with first, Kaya?
Yeah,
no, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I definitely do have something that I'd love to talk about. The thing for me is, as the year's kind of, coming to a close, it's, exciting in some ways because you want to, there's all these new things for me, at least, that I want to get set up for January. I've got a vision board workshop coming up next month, early next month. At the same time, there's a bunch of like house projects that you want to kind of get done before the holidays. And so there's always a lot of like push-pull kind of conflict. And then also with the marketing stuff, it's like the prioritizing. It's funny because it's like if somebody else, like one of my clients came to me with this, I'd be able to talk them through it. But I find it really hard to figure out for myself, even if I ask myself the same questions. I kind of find my head spins. So it's really, the question, I guess, is about kind of clarifying, like, what's the priority? So it's like, logically, it makes sense that I recruit for my vision board workshop because it's coming first in December. And then I want a systems, it's a Find Your Business ORM bootcamp that's starting in January. So it's for business owners who are, want to spend like 6 weeks in a boot camp immersion type of thing to get a bunch of stuff done. And then my hope is that people from that will want to transition into, working with me, doing some other things. So I'm kind of more excited about that one. But logically, it comes afterwards. So should I be focusing on filling my vision board stuff now? And that's all of what my marketing is talking about, and then start talking about the next thing. Do you know what I mean? So it's that. And then at the same time, it's like, okay, do I post social media stuff, or do I finish some stuff that I'm, projects that I have at home that I have kind of hard deadlines for some of them because we're having house guests and stuff like that. So they have to be kind of, stuff needs to be cleared, like from practical perspectives. And I'm a very practical, functional kind of person. So I find myself in a place where there's just a lot of push-pull, competing priorities, not clarity. It's like that confusion. When my head spins, then I get to overwhelm. It's not where I want to be. So I'm trying to take a step back from that. But I would love some thoughts just on, I know it's a common thing, it happens to a lot of people, so I'd love to just hear some perspectives on that, please.
Kaya, do you have anything to share? If not, I'm happy to dive in on this. I'm going to give you an opportunity. No pressure if you don't have anything.
Yeah, no, I was just sort of feeling into it, and what I'm sensing more is to really get, maybe take some time and get in touch with what is feeling. Like what is it, where are you feeling called? Because sometimes it, like you said, logical, your mind's like, okay, well, you need to do this for this, but is that what's really going to serve you best right now? And so I think it's just, what I'm just sensing is more feeling into, okay, where is my soul really guiding me to go? And take it from there.
And I wrote it here, feeling. Just saying.
My human design also has, one of my gifts and strengths is expressing logic. So I do spend a lot of time in my head, and I know that's kind of like the way I'm designed, but sometimes it can be too much. So thank you for that reminder. I know it's something so simple. It's not like it's something I don't know.
We all need it.
Totally forget about it, though.
We can help
Yeah.
others, but when it comes to us,
Thank
it's
you.
like,
Yes.
I know.
I'm like, what
I
was
know.
that thing I'm supposed to do again? Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous how that spiritual amnesia just pops in. Yeah, it's
Hi,
crazy.
Catherine. Welcome. So I would like to, if you're game, Rama, I think that the best thing for you now is that you have the answers already. The core desired feeling, of how you want to feel. What if you were just to strip all the logic, strip all of that, and drop into the body, what's there. So are you willing to just connect for a second? Maybe just close your eyes, ground, feel your tailbone, feel your feet. Any and all energies that don't serve, you can just release them. Any desire to think things through, you can put them on a shelf and connect to your womb space. Feel yourself home. Feel yourself back into your body for a moment. Come back in. It's safe here. And expand your energy out. Any and all realities that you're in, people's realities, pop out of them and just get back into your reality, your lane, your soul, your truth. Because it's perfect. It never leaves you astray. So just take a couple of deep breaths. I loved how Catherine said it in her meditation on Facebook. Generous deep breaths. Just breathing in more truth, exhaling anything that doesn't serve. Just nice, just drop in. We're here, you're safe. And just, you can ask your body, what feels expansive? How do you want to feel the next few weeks and through the end of the year? And even, what does your soul want? And is there anything that it wants you to do? And just notice what awareness comes up. There's no right or wrong. And just keep breathing. Any other concerns, you can just drain them, flush them down your body through the soles of your feet. Just get nice and clean and pure and open. So I'm curious, is anything coming up for you, Rama?
So the thing that's exciting to me right now is the boot camp that I want to do in January. And there's one thing that I was kind of doing on Instagram that I was kind of like second guessing, do I post 3 posts at the same time? Like, is it too much? Do I need to do one and have a space? And I'm like, you know what, screw it. I want to put 3. There's just 3 words. It's like desire, vision, action. And I just want them to come up in the bar on my Instagram. I can kind of see it now. That I want to just put that out there and have people be curious enough about it to say, what's this about? And that's my vision board stuff, and that's it. I can talk about it, but what I really want to talk about is the group program, the boot camp that I want to put together for January. Easy when you let it be, isn't it? Thank you for talking me into that. Thank you, because I feel so
you and I both felt that, didn't we?
Yes, it was totally. The
totally
boot camp
clear.
was like
ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's been exciting, but I just have felt I must have to enroll for this other thing first, but it hasn't felt easy. And now I'm kind of like, you know what? I've already created the posts. I just need to put them up there, but I need to not worry about whether the right thing or the wrong thing is to do it with a 2-hour or a 3-day interval or whatever. I need to just say, this is what I want to do. Done. Thank you. I feel so much better and lighter already.
I know, I can see that. There's that smile.
It's like my brain's gone down to normal size instead of like taking over the world, world domination from my brain. Now it's just like, let's just worry about what's in front of you and what you want to do. Oh, so much better. Thank you, ladies. I feel relieved beyond belief.
Good. So moving
Thank you.
forward, yay for that celebration. Snaps, right? As
Yes.
Elle
Yes.
would say, snaps.
Yes.
I love those snap things. I'm totally Elle Woods. A little less cool, but no doggy yet. But so we're talking about feeling, Rama, and we were talking about priorities. for me, I find that really anchoring into the feeling of how I want to be feeling. For me, that core feeling today is peace and spaciousness and flow. I mean, it's just the guiding principle for me right now. And then trust. So for you, and from that feeling, for me, it works. Maybe not for you, but then I'm able to see, does what I'm thinking to do, or which is what my mind is telling me, does that really align with the feeling I'm wanting, right? Like the core desire feelings from, Danielle Laporte, right? So as you think about your body, right, just like how do you want to be feeling the next few days, the next few weeks, what feels really just yummy and true?
I think allowing myself that spaciousness, because if you have the spaciousness and the trust, you automatically feel like it's coming, like it's not, I don't have to figure it all out, every detail with my brain. So I get that. Yeah, it's just reminding myself of that, because I am so heady, that it's reminding myself to drop in. And it's not that I don't know that, but I don't practice that unless something external from me reminds me. So I guess it's just, I feel like I need a bracelet to snap or something that's going to just remind me, how does that feel? So I think that's
band can work.
Yeah, and I have done that before, but yeah, I'm doing that right now.
And a question that I love, it's not a question that I created, but a colleague of mine, which I always come back to when I'm just like, it's this: if I fully trusted myself, right? If I fully trusted myself and the universe, what would I choose right now? Because then we know you can't get it wrong. It's all working out. Mm-hmm. If you fully trusted yourself, what would you do?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
I forget it sometimes, but I often, because I've been hearing her say it for a couple of years, and I'm like, yeah. Then the entire thing, just like you said, you just like relax, right? It just, so, that might help, and maybe there is, whether it a bracelet snap or whether it be an image or something that will keep you connected to that feeling, or that, we're still in the group, so you can always post in the Facebook group if you're like, I'm spinning, but I can see the shift in your energy, and that's exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, me too. It feels so much better and different and calmer. Yes.
I know. It sounds like the steps are clear. So is there anything else in terms of this that you want help with, though? I want to make sure you feel complete. That's important.
No, I don't think so. I think I feel complete. I think it's really just even going into my records would help. And sometimes even that is something I don't make time for. And it's like, I know my clarity's in there. Why am I avoiding it? It's like, why am I not making time for exactly? But that's the thing. It's like, why am I resisting the thing that I know is going to make me feel better? It's interesting sometimes when you see yourself doing that. And I'm like, here I am doing that thing that I do. So I'm not judging it. But at the same time, you get caught up in it rather than it's that witnessing, that stepping back to say, oh, there I am doing that thing again. And what do I really want? So I think it's just remembering that.
Yes. And this brings me, because it's come up a few times now, is, another question that might help instead of why am I not, it's like, what would it take or what would it be like, right, to feel spacious and whatever, I forgot what you all said, so again, being in that question of possibility versus the judgment, right? We cannot change or influence what we judge, right? And so I'm going to invite you to just consider what practice, you can implement to at least heighten your awareness, if not to deepen your connection to yourself. Because I think this is part of the invitation. You probably have sensed it. I can sense it, that you're feeling that nudge to, okay, out, in, out of here, in here.
Right.
And for me, I'm lucky that I have a husband who meditates every single day, so I piggyback on him. But what would it take for you to just, get quiet. Could be for that walk, whatever it is, just to create space to connection. I feel that will change everything. And it's just that decision to do.
Absolutely. And I go through phases, and I've done it, and it does always make me feel better. But I almost feel like right before it's starting to stick is when I start avoiding it or backpedaling. And then I end up having to learn the thing again. And so for me, it's, I think the thing that I'm working on right now is actually getting through that last bit of resistance to actually turn this into a habit rather than keep going in the question. Does that make sense? Like, I seem to spend a lot of energy in the figuring it out part rather than the having it done part. And then just when I have it almost figured out and it's almost natural, then I sort of somehow slide and have to start the back from the beginning again. I feel like I'm covering the same ground, in some cases over and over again, instead of actually just taking those 2 steps further that would actually have me be in a new place. Does that make sense?
Yes. So what would it take to take that additional step further? So what's the resistance? Is it a fear around what? What would it take to go that extra little step?
It seems ridiculous that I haven't. It's almost like it's right there. Why am I not making the change? Why am I still talking about making the change? And I know, there's some learning here for me that, a lot of my clients do it. I talk them through it. But for myself, there's some places I've done this, so I can remind myself of all the places that I've done that, and something good and better and as easier has been on the other side. But sometimes it does just feel like, why am I doing this again? Like, here I am going through that pattern again, rather than just taking that one more step. So again, I think some of that is just that connection, that, reminder that I can do this, that I've been here, that there's something better on the other side, that, just keep going. I'm reading some things at the moment. I'm reading Big Magic again from Liz Gilbert. And that, I think, is helping. I'm doing, a little bit of reading every morning that's just making me think, everyone goes through this, and it's up to me to kind of keep going.
Yes, remembering. And my sense, I'm open to other people chiming in, Catherine can feel free too, is that I heard more judgment, why, it's because you're almost there. Not like you're not, just really kindness. So if you were kind and created space for yourself just to be, I find that some of the biggest fuck ups of getting in the brain is having a place to go. Because then there's, rush and ego and getting it right and doing it right and making the money. What if you just played in the void of the space? I know you're like, oh shit, don't say that. But it's just like, just be in the space. Like, there is nowhere to go. There is no agenda except to be in the spaciousness. The universe is always expanding, but it's always spacious. You were going to say something, Kaya?
Yes, I just wanted to chime in about that, about being in this space, and I will talk a little bit more about that. But I was practically forced to be in the space right now. And I had been forced, I feel, since August. And I was forced to do it, and I had to shut down, and I had to really get in touch with my feelings. And so what I started realizing was that I literally didn't know what to call it. Am I in depression? Am I in resistance? Because it was right at a point where, things were taking off. I had a momentum going, and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. Opportunities were coming in, and I was acting on them, and all of a sudden, like, I hit a brick wall. Nothing was happening, and I had to shut everything down. And so it allowed me to, now I'm almost relearning, slow down, be still. And that's where the getting in touch with the feeling, because I was so busy, well, I want to get this done, I want to get that done, that I was not getting in touch with what my soul was needing for me. And So something just also came to me to share with you. There's a book called Living in the Light by Shakti Gawain. Gawain, is that how her name is pronounced?
Wayne, yeah.
Gawain. That has been incredibly helpful in really allowing to get in touch with the soul, with the self, with the feelings. And I don't know, I just wanted to share that and see maybe if that could be of some assistance.
I will take a look. Thank you.
Yeah.
And it's okay, making the resistance significant, right? Anything we make a really significant, we give a lot of power to, right? Believe me, I've been in the same boat as you two. Resistance galore. And the distractions, the getting into the head, getting out of the body is a way to, it's fear, right? Fear of feeling something, of admitting or confronting something. But the truth is there is nothing to fear. And at the same time, if it helps, look at what is the worst case scenario. Absolute worst case scenario here. And then, I have a friend that says just, give it over. Some days I just say angels, guides, universe, I'm you take care of this because I can't handle it today, So it is an unlearning. I would highly suggest, I can see it in so many people. I think every one of us, Catherine is going through this, Kaya, you and I talked and you're going through this. I'm certainly in the shit of it, is this unlearning of how we did life to do soul living.
Yes.
Operate and lead from within. And that means the mind is going to have a shit fest. No. This is, and every day I still find my mind wanting to go, oh, I'm going to do this, right? Here's what I know. And I'm like, but I know that's not the way. But it feels good in the moment, but it's not the way. But I don't know what the other way is. And fuck, what does that mean? And so leaning into, well, what am I afraid it's going to mean?
Good question.
Can be good. For me, I had some interesting, deep conversations with my now husband who was miles away. I'm like, what if my life amounts to nothing? What if all of this was for nothing? What if I'm a failure? What if I never figure this out? And really, I think part of the fear was, what if my life amounts to nothing and I also don't get to live my dreams and I live just destitute under the bridge? I also realized this deep fear of being poor. And also this sense of value of, who am I if I'm not blank for me, right?
Yes,
if I'm not a coach, if I'm not a healer. When I was in the environmental field, I was like, I spent 10 years on this. Now what? Who am I if I don't have all these labels? And oh my God, I just got chills. I'm like, oh my God, what if I'm not a wife? What if I'm not a mother? What if I'm nothing? And, that's why I love the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza. If you don't know his work, oh my God.
Yes,
for years, and I finally grabbed it from Brazil and I'm like, it's coming home with me. And he has tons of YouTube videos that are free.
Meditations, I'm doing them as well. I'm back on Joe. Yes.
The breaking the habit of being yourself. That one.
Yes.
Yes.
Habit person. That's what I do.
I know. Exactly.
But
we all.
Yeah.
It's the addiction. Like what he says, we're addicted to worry, to doubt, to all of this. And it's like, the best way is to transcend, right? So we don't think our way through, right? Because that keeps us in the loop, which we know. My colleague calls it the hell loop. I'm like, hell yeah, it's a hell loop. And then meditation. Believe me, it took me 44 years to even sit down on that frickin' cushion. But I did it again with Alex. There's no expectation. There's no timeline. It helps that he's there. And so I just sit and I sit. There's no agenda. I just sit. And it calms me down. Again, because my core desired feeling is I want peace. This gives me peace.
Yes.
It might give you spaciousness too, from all the chatter and the noise. Like my body physically aches from pain, from anxiety and tension.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So it's all okay. And it's all perfect. And it's getting messy is fine. So I think just giving yourself the space, Rama, to acknowledge that this is a transitional, expansive phase of unlearning, and your inner girl tantrum is full speed ahead. Good job. But again, not making it significant and leaning into what is uncomfortable from an exploratory place. And it's okay if you crash. I had some very, very dark nights when I was in Brazil alone. Like, I'm on an 8-story apartment, and I had very weird impulses to jump that window. And I've never had that before, ever. Clearly I didn't do it, and I don't want to do it, but it's just, I was like, shit, there's some stuff here. So I just sat with it, and it was very uncomfortable, very uncomfortable. I don't have all the answers, but the willingness to be with that discomfort took the charge, right? That's part of the way. Right. Like my colleague says, what's in the way is the way, right? What's in the way is the way. This is the work, Rama, ultimately for you and your growth, for everything that's on the other side. This is the work. And the fucked up part of it is there's no map, there's no freaking manual,
nope.
And we think we're freaking crazy and nothing is working. We're never going to get there. When's the money going to come or run out and I'm going to whatever? Okay. And you're still here. Today you're alive, you're kicking, everything's fine. So,
the thing that big magic, I think, is that whole idea of creative living. And I guess I, in a lot of ways, didn't apply that to myself because I think, I'm for many, many years, I'm considering it now, but I don't apply that to myself because I'm not like an artist. I'm not a painter. I'm not a drawer. And I've always thought of those things as like, those are the people that live a creative life. But there's so much more to it than that. And I guess just for me, trying on the idea, for me, as opposed to for other people, or just it's around or understanding what it is. But for me, what a creative life looks like in terms of the journey every day and the privilege of being able to create without the destination or the success or the end point, and just being in that inquiry of, and enjoying the privilege, just being grateful for the privilege of being able to create. I confuse myself sometimes with what I should be doing, like should I be doing this first or that first? I get that. But I think it's part of the journey of figuring out, what brings me the most joy now. And I think I've just forgotten that that's the question. And, so thank you for this discussion because it's really kind of brought me back around to that's the question for me, really. It's like, what brings me joy now? It's not what's going to bring me joy tomorrow. No. Which I think is where my head sends me.
No, and again, no end, it's easy to say, well, I'm going to do this in order to that. The in order to is going to get us
the problem
in the butt. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think, so instead of figuring it out, which is a headspace language, I would say allow, right? Listen, right? Tune into, become aware of energy, not thinking, but energy. Where's the energy pulling you? I'm in that same space. Like what I like to do. And just staying in the inquiry I think inquiry is a good word for you. Curiosity. And I would sincerely suggest creation for creation's sake, joy for joy's sake, play for play's sake. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to be. There's nothing to achieve. Because that achieving, striving, proving, creation from result can be tricky. And I don't think that's aligned with what's next for you. You'll always do that perfectly well, but I don't think that's what's being asked of you now. Make sense?
Yeah, thank you. That's been very helpful. Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome. Kaya, do you want to share anything?
You basically, you have literally, is Rama complete? Or
I'm good.
Sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No. You have literally just explained my life in the past, 3 months.
That's how it works.
In terms of really having, being results oriented, goal oriented, and all of that has completely stopped. And so now for me, I have been living in the unknown for the past, I finally surrendered about a month or so ago after fighting, oh my God, same thing. if I'm not a healer, if I'm not a coach, and all these opportunities are coming and I'm letting them pass me by, and what if they never come back? And I've really been in a very, very dark place as well. But what I am realizing is that, and I said this to you, Priscilla, is that I had to say, like, I had nowhere else to go other than to surrender to, I am going under a spiritual reconstruction, where my spirit and my soul is wanting me to do things and see things from a completely different place. And so right now, the challenge, and it's not so much more challenge, because I have been deepening my meditation with Dr. Joe, and just allowing this space of the unknown to be okay. Because I'm like, okay, when is it going to happen? When am I going to get like my mojo back? When am I going to, and it's just like, no, not yet. No, not yet. And that is uncomfortable, because I want to get in action, but I can feel that doing anything right now does not feel in alignment. So it's kind of like the same thing, the same push-pull thing with me just right now being in the unknown, not having any fucking idea, like when I'm going to get out of this thing, this space, this cloud is going to clear. So that's where I'm at.
Yes. And I love that. For me, it's the same thing. I think we get to that point where everything else has to stop working in order to get us to do the thing that is the gateway to the bridge to everything we've been asking for.
The word that came to me as you were speaking was surrender.
Yes, It is a surrender.
It used to be a time I couldn't even say that word for me or somebody else, but that's the word. Right?
I was like, that is a pathetic, ridiculous word. I don't have time to surrender. I'm just going to bulldoze through shit. That's how I roll, right?
I find that I surrender and then I jump right back on. It's kind of like the way I feel is like I still feel in a way that I haven't completely surrendered. So I've surrendered a lot, because I literally had to, like, I have not been on social media. I only post about the passing of my mom, that was the only thing. But I really can't do anything. And I'm just like, well, what's wrong with me? And there was the judgment. And so now I'm a lot more aware of my judgments. And I find that now what I feel like my soul is asking of me is to really accept my feelings, accept the doubts, accept the worry, and not make it like something's wrong with me that I'm having those feelings. It's accepting that right now there is not, like, and I think Wayne Dyer said something about, and I think Dr. Joe might have said this too, but something about when you're in survival mode, or when you're in that mode, there is absolutely no space to create. And so I'm like, shit. So when is it? So for me, it's kind of like, well, when is it going to happen? I wanted to hurry up. Here's the
secret. Relax. Yes. And I know it's the last thing you want, but I was in a workshop and she was talking about homeostasis, that when we're in this calm state in the body, it might feel boring because there's no trauma, right, happening. But that's when the body is relaxed. That's when we can create, this, right? When you're relaxed, you have these great ideas. Yeah. Life just flows. But in that, the pendulum between too much excitement, too much anxiety, like, it cannot be sustained, right? It creates burnout. It creates all this stuff. It creates the fight or flight. Dr. Joe talks about this. And even Abraham Hicks talks about this. Feel good, relax, take that one step. And so, which goes back to Rama, how do you want to feel? Because if that feeling feels true, that will create alignment, that will allow you to just relax. It doesn't mean, like Kaya said, that the mind isn't going to try to speed this up. It's okay. Just let it do its thing.
The other thing that came to me while you were talking, I'm not sure now whether it's Debbie Ford or Marianne Williamson, but both of them, I think, studied the Course in Miracles, so it could be from that. But one of the things she says is when you've got to that place where, okay, I'm surrendering now, the thing that she said is like, okay, I turn myself over to you. She says, I think it's Debbie Ford who says she got down on her knees and just said, tell me, like, give me the thoughts to think, give me the words to say, give me the actions to take. How can I be of service today? And in that kind of, that kind of is surrender in action to me. And it's almost like you have to have that space, that kind of breakdown first, where you have that space to say, I give it up. Like you were talking earlier about, okay, angels is your job today. I can't handle it. But what if we actually came from that place every day? I mean, and then allowed that guidance. I mean, you're so intuitive, we all are to some degree, but it's allowing that intuition to guide us.
Exactly.
And I think we all know this on some level, but
exactly.
the difference between knowing it in here and practicing it.
Yeah. Thank you. That resonates, and to some small degree, I've been doing it, but clearly, as you were saying that, I can feel that is the only place to go. But I guess there was a part of me, like Priscilla was sharing, I'm like, well, what if I never do my work? And it's funny, I had this dream the other night that Victor and I were homeless and we were living in the street, and it was like, holy crap. And so there's also that fear of, what if the answer never comes? Which I know, of course, that's my head, because it will come. And what if I didn't coach again? I didn't teach, I didn't speak. What if that was the case? Then
would you
who
be
am
okay?
I? Would I be okay?
Yeah, that's the question, right? So
would I be okay?
Because then you're not attached to it. Our coach asked me many, many years ago, because, we did one of these, Fear Was Running the Show things. And she said, okay, we've gone around this loop. Like, what's that about? What's the worst case scenario? And we actually went there, and she said, and then what? And then what? And I ended up to, I would be a bag lady on the street, right? Exactly the fear that many of us have. And I got to that place. And then she said, is that true? And I thought about that, and I thought, well, before I ended up a bag lady on the street, I could probably, as many friends and people in my life and, family, that would probably have me on their couch before they'd have me on the street. Right. And then, even though it's not my first choice, I probably could go back to my parents. Right. It's not ideal by any stretch, but there are many, 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 many options before I end up a bag lady on the street.
Yeah.
So really, how true is that?
Right. Well, yeah, I know. Where I come from, I know that wouldn't happen. I think the bigger pull is feeling like not fulfilling my soul's purpose.
Absolutely. But
and
I guess
that is like, shit.
Absolutely. And the thing is, the question that comes to me is like, if you didn't fulfill your soul's purpose, what's the worst that could happen?
Exactly.
Would you come back again and do it over differently?
Yeah.
Would you enjoy that? It's like there's a bigger picture here, right? So you, the soul of you, would be fine, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And it's coming into alignment with that. It's like, would I be fine anyway?
Yeah.
What if you are fulfilling your soul's purpose right this second?
Exactly.
This is you fulfilling your soul's purpose. Being joyful, playful.
Yeah.
Enjoying the world, looking at the beauty around you with your eyes. That is you fulfilling your soul's purpose.
Yeah.
What if you allowed it to be as easy as that?
Yeah.
And as I'm saying this to myself too. So,
right.
Like I said, I can thank you.
We can do it. We can.
Exactly. Thank you for asking the question, because like I said, I can see that for you, and obviously it's resonating for me, but I could never have seen that for myself. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies. Catherine, I know you're on, and we have just under 10 minutes. I'm going to have someone else hop on, but I wanted to give you a chance, Catherine, to say anything. If you want to, no pressure.
Sure. I've just been listening and appreciating all the insights and reflecting and resonating and all of that. I like the terminology that's been used. I have dubbed this my year of surrender as of July 28th. And I literally had a come to spirit moment where I stood in my house and raised my hands to the sky and said, okay, I'm over it. Like, I'm done with this bullshit of trying to lead and be in charge of all of it. This is not working. So show me, guide me, tell me all of the things that I've been ignoring and avoiding forever because I was scared of them. And it's blown my life upside down. And it's fucking fantastic and terrifying and weird and amazing. And in the midst of all of that, I am having the most fun that I've ever had because I am no longer in charge. And what I realized for myself was that I have been so depleted and out of resonance with my feminine expression by being a leader in my life and trying to lead every freaking decision and being in control all the time. So what I've discovered in my surrender year thus far, we're in about month 3 and some change, is that, God, it's nice to not have to drive everything. It is so lovely to let Jesus, or I mean, I say that jokingly, but let spirit take the reins and just be like, all right, show me the magic, show me who I need to meet today, like, take me where I need to go, have me say the things I need to say, have me be in energetic resonance with that which I need to magnetize to do whatever the thing that I'm doing and being is right now, which I have no clue what that is. But it's like, so that, I guess that was my question in hearing you all speak, is maybe there's opportunity and space for it to be fun and magical and like seeing the world with new eyes all over again because of this major shift in the way of being in the world. Because that's what I'm starting to discover, and it feels crazy. I mean, and literally, like, this morning I like cleared a restaurant space energetically, which I've never done anything like that before, but it was the right thing. And so I just continue to do things and to show up places because people ask, and it's great, but everything feels foreign, and yet it's kind of like being a traveler. That's how I'm feeling personally. It's like, oh, I'm like traveling through life, like seeing everything all over again with new eyes. This is really fun and exciting, even though I have no clue where I'm going and what that will lead to and how that will all land. It's just, it's really fun. So I don't know, that's what I've been feeling recently in the surrender process.
I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
That's awesome.
Absolutely
Thank
beautiful.
you, Catherine. Yeah.
I've been feeling that way too, and I'll add to this topic. For me, the idea of stepping into all the newness feels really light. It also has felt kind of scary because my mind has wanted to still hold on to the old. So for now, in my push and pull, I've allowed myself to be in the new, the freshness of what's new, and that it's okay that I can still have the old too for now. Like, it doesn't have to be like a demolishing of the old. Like, because there's a part of me that feels like the business, I've even questioned, do I stay in business? Do I not? Like, everything, all the structures, the containers are shifting. It's just the way it is. I just know that that's not energetically aligned, but I don't know what's new. So it's okay to know, okay, for me now, it's there, knowing that it's not going to be this way. And to what Catherine was saying, I was talking to a client yesterday, and I haven't spoken to her since I've been gone. And for the last year, I've helped her build her consulting business, and she started a podcast, which she is loving. And she just looked at me point blank and she said, Priscilla, I'm not doing my consulting business anymore. Oh. And she's keeping it alive. But like what Catherine said, like, she got invited to teach ski classes. She lives in to kids. She got invited to do things that she never would have done. Like college invited her to teach a class on doing podcasts. And she said, in 5 minutes, I came up with the outline. And I just said, yes, like, these are opportunities. But she said, I feel like I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. And the guidance in the records was, clearly you're not. You're actually expanding them. You just have to reconfigure how you're looking at what you're doing. You're still expanding consciousness. You're still using the containers of teaching and giving space to conversations and the podcast and all this. it's the next iteration. And she had to do the consulting business the way she did it in order to be ready to step into this one. Otherwise she would have had regret. Otherwise she would have, not known what it was like. But just seeing like her giddiness, like this childhood wonder, like Catherine was saying, it was like, God, this feels so exciting and I am happy. And isn't this like cool? And all these things are coming to me and I'm like, what the hell? Like I never thought of this, and my retirement is going to run out in April. And she's like, but that's, and she's like, and it just her surrender into it. Like, and she would cry. And I was just like, this is beautiful. Like just the bravery, the allowing of it, and she's so determined to be happy. And she's letting go of the reins of what it looks like. And the contrast of the heaviness of the consulting business as she, even though she knows what she's doing, it was a good contrast to say, been there, done that. That is the opposite of the lightness of what is coming forth. And I have no fucking clue, like she said, like we're all here. We have no idea where it's going. And it feels a lot lighter and more joyful. And so this idea of new eyes and I love Catherine being a traveler. And for me, my version of being a traveler is being a housewife and, letting go of the agenda and seeing what sparks my interest and asking for things to make themselves known and to sleep and to be alone. Like I don't want to, be out much. And it's okay. And to be in nature. So listen to what is like yelling at you, because stuff is yelling at you, Rama. Like nature is like so important to me right now. I'm like, how quickly can you get me into the woods? And I'm a city person, and just being a homebody, like that works, so just listening, and allowing, and then being willing to do it, because what's the worst that can happen, So I think that it's all perfect.
And what's the best that can happen?
I know.
Yes.
There you go. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
It's
What's
funny,
the
I feel
best
like
that can happen?
I've got the answers. Like the question I asked earlier, I think was, what is this resistance about? I was like, why am I kind of stopping myself from taking that extra step? And the answer that just came to me while Catherine was describing that whole traveler, the journey, it was beautiful, was that I'm resisting the surrender. I'm trying to stay in charge.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's like,
yeah, me too.
duh, like this whole conversation, it's like, oh yeah, what might that look like for me? Because I feel, I see it for other people living an intuitive life, and I'm like, yeah, that's great for you. Woohoo, for you, fantastic. It's coming and it's fun and it's happy, fantastic. But it doesn't occur to me to kind of think, what would that look like for me?
Yeah.
So just
and
thank you for
I
that
wanted
inquiry
to
today.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear. I wanted to say this also. I had a conversation with someone the other day, and we're speaking about resistance. And she said, what if the resistance, because sometimes we look at something, and because I was like, oh, I'm in resistance about something. And she goes, what if it's not resistance, but your soul and your body is just saying, this is what I need right now? Because I was saying, oh, when I want to do something, I get tired. And she was saying there's a fine line between avoidance and resistance, but to tune into, maybe it's not resistance. Maybe my body just wants me to rest right now. So I don't know why. I just felt like that needed to be thrown in there.
I love that, ladies. Well, my client's going to hop on in a minute, and so I've got to let us go. But how are you guys doing?
Yes,
Good? This was really rich.
This was awesome. This was awesome.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah,
yes,
everyone had a
thank
contribution that was meaningful, really. So
yes.
Thank you. I
Thank
really
you, everyone.
all of you today.
Catherine is on too. This is so good.
Yeah.
And
Catherine nailed it. Catherine
Yeah.
tied the bow.
Nailed it.
Thank you,
Oh,
Catherine.
she's so good. She's so eloquent. I love it.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes. I love how these calls with the right people, the right energy, just kind of,
Absolutely.
it's just like has its own little consciousness. So we
Thank
have
you,
another
Priscilla.
call. You're welcome.
Thank you,
we have another call in 2 weeks, I think, and then one in December. So just make a note on your calendars. If it calls to you, come here and we'll create more magic.
Awesome.
Thank you
so
everybody.
much.
Have a
Bye,
wonderful
guys.
rest of the day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye. Thank